Yo, 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 we live on location. Me and D Miles is staying our ass home here in Orlando. We in Orlando, staying quarantined and staying our ass at home. But we got them 5G towers that's keeping us connected. And we got our boy live on location from Tar Heel Country, from Chapel Hill. We got the legend,
sir.
Mr. Ball Don't Lie. You know what I'm talking about? Tar Heel legend, NBA champ, and our big bro. We got Rasheed Wallace pulling up on us, man. Tune in, check it out.
First of all, man, I'd like to thank you for, being on the show. Like, definitely a big, big fan of yours, so we definitely want to thank you.
Come on, man. You know I love y'all guys, man,
Brought to you by AT&T 5G.
So the first question we ask everybody who come on the show is, when you first got to the league, who was the first person to bust your ass?
All right, I'm going to tell y'all, day one, game one. It was preseason game, so my rookie season, I'm on the Washington Bullets, got drafted for. So my teammates is Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, two of the Fab Five. I got Big George Murasine, 7'7". I got my old head, Bob McCann, who was the traveling man, power forward. I got Robert Pack. I got a good team.
You got squad.
So, boom, we go down to Mexico City. We playing the Spurs. So it's a home and home game. So the first night, they're the home team. Dog. So David Robinson, in 30 minutes, gave me 30 points, about 17, 18 rebounds, and about 6 or 7 blocks. In my first NBA outing, bro. You hear me? And look, I swear to goodness, I think I would have called everybody if we was back in the States. But, that long distance and all that back then. We in Mexico.
You tell nobody about that.
Man, that bottle was my friend. I done took some Coronas to the head. I was like, yo, he bust my ass, yo. So the next night, we playing him again. Same thing, David Robinson. So now he bust my ass again, but it wasn't as bad.
It wasn't as bad.
I gave some fight this time. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, yo, he got me though. I can't front on the Admiral, man. He got me.
Hey, people don't really talk about David like that, man. He kind of get lost in the shuffle of his greatness and how athletic he was and everything that he brought to the table. When they talk about Biggs, we really don't hear his name, period.
Yeah.
At all. And he was a problem. He was a problem for a lot of other centers because he could shoot that 15-footer. Yep. Run the floor. I got post game. I got defense.
Strong
and I'm strong. You ain't just going to pump
strong and a motherfucker. Action figure.
That boy, action figure out there.
Straight up. Philly, Simon Grant's high school. Like, how was it like when you first got to Simon Grant's? Was it could have been another high school, or you always, when you grew up, you was like, man, I'm going to Simon Grant's and I'm going to kill?
Well, with that, it was all on who I knew. At the time when I was a young boy, I had just started playing basketball, probably like about 7th grade, so that's about, 12, 13 years old, something like that. I just started playing basketball, and only thing I could do was block shots because I was a little bit taller than all the other kids, and I could run the floor because track is my first love. That's my main event, track and field. And so I just incorporated the running and the running the floor. That's all I could do, running block shots. I couldn't do nothing else. And so it wasn't like Gratz was a chosen figure, like, yeah, I know I'm going to go there. But, I just ended up there and it was already written. My path was already written. That's how I got to see it because I ended up with, to me, all-star, all-world Hall of Fame coach and Bill Ellerby. And I played on that same team with Aaron McKee. Y'all played against Aaron McKee too. He was my senior. I was a freshman. He was a senior.
Okay.
And we had another All-American guy by the name of Harry Moore. So we had a pretty good team. We had big guards. And, man, next thing I know, I'm watching them. We in practice, and Harry Moore gets shot at a house party. So he gets shot in the leg, so he can't make the trip. So now we in the hospital. I'm crying. I'm like, oh, my man up there laid up and everything. He's like, look, it's your time now. You need to go ahead, hold it down till I get back. And we went out to Vegas. That was my first, national tournament.
Right.
And, we held our own. I held my own a little bit. I still got my chops bust because I was still new to the game a little bit. but held my own. And I think we ended up placing like maybe third or fourth in that tournament. But from there on, it was nothing but, all right, we're going to run this up here. So it ended up being my senior year, won undefeated. In my high school tally, I won 3 city championships. I got 2 national championships, a couple of parade All-American stuff. So I would definitely have to give everything that I'm about, that Rasheed Wallace is about, to Bill Ellerby and Simon Gratz, because that's where it all started at. That's what this bulldog is on my arm.
Okay.
I remember the
That's
bulldog.
where it all started at.
I remember the bulldog
Right.
tat.
Yeah.
So tell me this, at what point between you starting that in 7th grade, 12, 13, to you getting to that pinnacle of winning them city championships and parade All-Americans, at what point in between there did you realize, because that's a late start, in our eyes, they're hooping, like most of us started hooping as soon as we could run or something, like as soon as we could get up. But like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? 7th grade is kind of late for us, you know what I'm saying? But like, at what point did you feel like, okay, like I'm figuring this out, I'm kind of nice, and then everybody started like coming to heap that praise, you start getting college letters. Like, at what point did that turn for you when you became like that national guy, ranked guy, and began to get that attention?
I would have to say it was my freshman year in high school when we won a city championship. I know for a fact I wasn't on the scouting report of the opposing team because, one, I wasn't starting. I only started in the beginning of the year because my man had got shot, but he came back.
Right.
So I wasn't on the scouting report or anything like that, but my coach knew what I could do. So the main thing, they wanted to play a 2-3 zone. So my coach overloaded one side and flashed me to the elbow. And that's where I won the game at. I ended up having like 20-something points from the elbow, and we ended up winning the city championship. And then that's when it kind of sort of clicked a little bit, like, boom, like, all right, I'm pretty good. But I only thought city, though. I didn't think country or nothing. I only thought like, all right, I can hold my own here in North Philly. You know what I'm saying? In Germantown and South Philly, I can hold my own. So I was like, all right. And as I got older, I didn't even think I was going to go to college. Real talk, Q. Until I sat down with my high school coach, like the end of my 11th grade year, going into my senior year. He like, what's your plans? I'm like, look, I'm gonna get a 9 to 5. I'm gonna work where my brother work at over at Sears in the factory, because that's all I knew. No one in my immediate family had went to college. So my coach said, no, you're going to college. And I'll be damned if no other conversation I ever listened to, I'm thankful that I listened to that one, because it helped launchpad who I am.
When you came out, like, could have been anybody else? Like, could anybody else could have got you instead of North Carolina?
Yeah, my top schools, or my top 4 or 5 was Georgetown, Villanova, Temple, Carolina, and Howard, believe it or not. Because of Coach Butch Beard. But at the time when I was in school, you only could do 4 visits. So I had took the top 4. I had to take the Villanova and Temple because one, my high school coach told me to. He said that's out of respect, because I was hanging out on that campus so much, and in the summertime playing pickup games on campus so much. So he said that's out of respect. And then he said, with Georgetown and Carolina, he said that's up to you. So they was my final schools, and my heart, real talk, my heart was set on Georgetown. With Coach John Thompson, because that's all I saw. I was a big Pat Ewing fan. I grew up in the Big East area, and with him, and Pat Ewing was the tallest athletic dude I've seen on TV outside of Edwin Moses, the Olympic star. So I was like, and I'm tall, so I would wonder if he get called a lot of names like I got called when in school, Big Ox and this and that. But just being a fan of Pat Ewing, all right, I got the opportunity to go where he went, so I was definitely thinking about it. The only reason I didn't, because my freshman year, I wouldn't have had no point guard. And who would have known that next year it would have been the AI chapter beginning.
Yeah. What was it about Dean Smith that made you just fall over? Like, just made you commit to North Carolina? Because Dean Smith is a legend. He coached these legends. He already won championships. Like, he done did it. Like, his legacy is set. Anything else, he's just adding on to the cake.
Yeah.
But
I would say Coach Smith, his persistence, number one, and of course, his status already held weight with me. I think at the time, the 4 biggest coaches that I can remember that I liked that recruited me. One was Coach Smith, Coach John Thompson, Coach John Chaney, and what's your man? Coach of Syracuse.
Jim Boeheim.
Jim Boeheim. Them were like, to me, the 4 biggest coaches, ever. And then here it is, they're interested in me. But I think what really sold me though, real talk, dog, was after Carolina won it, like the night before, I was watching the game. You know what I'm saying? Boom. All right, yeah, Carolina, hey, won it. That next day, I go to school. So I come home from school. So, I come in the house, boom. And I walk by the living room. I'm like, whoa. I hear my mom sitting in there with somebody. And I take a couple steps back and look back like, and who's sitting in the living room? Coach Phil Ford, who to me is the best player to ever come out of Carolina. Yes, I said it, y'all, even before Better Than Mike.
Yeah.
And Coach Dean Smith. And my jaw dropped like, Coach, ain't you supposed to be somewhere celebrating? You just won a hard-earned national championship. He's like, nah, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And, we had a good exchange that evening, and, I was off to Carolina.
Now you at Carolina, and you got, it's like you can kind of form you a Voltron. You can form you a big squad. You get you somebody like Stackhouse. Somebody mean, he rugged, you know what I'm saying? Like to play like how you like to play. Like, how is that to have somebody like Stackhouse to play with in college and start your college career off going like that?
It was awesome to play with him and Jeff McGinnis. That was the other freshman. It was the 3 of us, and man, we called ourselves the Young Guns. Of course they ended up signing with Carolina first, and I think we were either at the McDonald's game or it might have been some other little all-star game at that time. And they was telling me like, come on, man, like what you gonna do? Like hey, we got what it is. We got a big point guard, we got the wing slasher, all we need is a big. I'm like, man, all right, let's rock and roll then. So it was awesome though, man. And to have a lot of the battles that we did, even though Stack and I were only there for 2 years, but a lot of schools still came at us, and man, we gave them everything that we had down here in Carolina.
Hey, tell me, how was it to be a part of that legendary battle, the rivalry that you guys got with Duke? How was that for you when you first got there, to be in that environment and that whole intensity? How was that for you to experience that as a freshman? Home and away, because both of y'all arenas are like legendary. So it's 8
miles apart.
Right.
It's 8 miles. It's about like this far apart. 8 miles apart. But when I first checked into the game, my first bucket was a putback dunk and one. I almost hyperventilated. I almost passed out right there on the floor.
Okay, so
just straight blacked out. Boy, head looking.
Man. And so I was so hyped, but to be part of that rivalry, it's awesome, because anything, I don't care who's on the team, what your rank, throw all that out the window.
Yeah.
I think to me, it's like the basketball guys must live down here somewhere, or, touch down on earth during these Carolina Duke battles, because man, some of the finishes, you wouldn't believe, some of the games itself, the overtime double. I was involved in one of the best with the double overtime.
Yeah.
When Jeff Capel hit the 35, 40-footer from half court to send it into OT. But I will say this, even though with Duke, it's the greatest rivalry in sports to me, I'll say this about that: I never lost to Duke.
Okay.
I know that.
Talk your shit one time.
And it's Googleable.
Let the record stay. It's Googleable. Let the record
Googleable.
stay.
Me and Stack never lost.
I remember I was telling Stack when we talked to Stack, I said, man, every time I think about just North Carolina and Duke, I just see you when you reverse dunked on the other side and just start screaming and doing his head like that. I said,
we called that the monk dunk.
The monk dunk.
Yeah, because he started doing the Donkey Kong after. On campus for that week, we just called him the monk dunk.
When you decided to come out, what made you decide to come out?
It was that time. pretty much felt it. Was sitting there, Stack and I, truth be told, was sitting there in the locker room, the Final Four, and in Seattle, and we just felt as though that it was time.
Yeah.
For me, I felt it was time, and my family situation at home made it time.
Right.
So,
straight up.
you know, it was, I had to do what I had to do and take that big step forward to help my family out.
When you got drafted, did you think it was gonna be somebody else you was going to instead of the Bullets?
No, I knew I was going there. At first, the Sixers wanted me. The Sixers was going to pick me third. I think that's when that's when our old head John Lucas was coaching, I think.
Okay.
So the Sixers wanted, but I told them, I was like, nah, I said, I don't want to go there. Don't pick me, or it's going to be, you know, contract holdouts and all that, because I just didn't want to
Not starting
deal
off
with
at home.
that pressure exactly of being now in high school. Okay, I could deal with it because it's only a couple people around the city, and you know, my high school, that's all right, the pressure. But now you're a professional athlete, and I'm not only from Philly, representing Philly, I'm playing for Philly. I was
That's
like,
hard.
at that time, I said I couldn't deal with that pressure, so I told my agent to tell them not to draft me. And I think from the way that my career turned out, that it was a pretty good move, because I know it wouldn't have been nothing but downhill for me if I would have got drafted by the Sixers.
Tell me how special it was for you to get drafted, you know, with Stack, your brother, and then y'all get drafted back to back. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, like, that's like some never before seen. Like, me and D Miles tight, and we got drafted. He was third, I was 18, and it was still crazy for us to get drafted on the same day and, you know, achieve that dream. How was that for y'all boys to go through, you know, just losing in the Final Four and all that? Then y'all got the biggest moment of y'all life y'all get to share together.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. I can remember after the draft is over, after the whole green room effect and everything.
Yeah.
We're the draft was in Toronto. That was the first year of the Raptors as well. So here it is. We walking back across the parking lot, walking back to the hotel in Toronto, and we like, man, like, dog, like, we just got drafted, yo. Like, we just made it. Like, ah!
Yeah.
Like, all them days in the gym, you know, all them days when the coach was in your ass and, you know, saying this, saying that, and you couldn't make this many foul shots. And I was like, here it is. I was like, we made it. I was like, this the first part of it, you know. And then having veterans already with, you know, acclimated with Carolina and coming back in the summertime and letting us know, like, look, the easy part is to make it, but the hard part is to stay. So we was like, all right, we got part one over with, but it was still exhilarating, man. You know, for my brother to go third and I'm right behind him in fourth, I'm like, man, that was high fives all up in that green room.
I remember sitting at home watching that, like, yo, this crazy. They teammates got drafted back to back and all this. I was like, but for like that, like when you think about it, like for us, like that's how we was. We got drafted in Minnesota that night. Khalil, I mean, had like a little party there. Like I could remember us. That's one of the vivid memories I have from that.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember much from the party, but I remember us. Like several of us, me, D Miles talking to each other. I remember saying something to the K Martin in the party, like, yo, man, we here. Like everybody just hype, like we here. Everybody get that one little moment where, I don't know, we take a shot, drink, or scream, or whatever you do, but you like, dude, we here. Like, it's crazy.
We made it, yeah.
You on the team with the Bullets now, and you watch Chris Webber win Rookie of the Year with Golden State, and he's on this team now. Like, how was your mindset going into it, looking at that roster and looking at what you got to do for that team?
Oh man, I was all in. I was gung ho. You know, watching Webb at Michigan, you know, that was one of my idols. Because that whole, like, who didn't love the Fat Five?
Exactly.
Like, we all love the Fat Five.
Nobody.
If you from, you know what I'm saying, the black neighborhoods, as a young boy coming up, you love the Fat Five. So with me watching him when I was in high school, you know, the baggy shorts and you know, the black socks, and, you know, as hardcore as they were. And now, wait, you know, I'm on the team with Juwan Howard and Chris Webber. I'm like, I'm gung ho. I'm gung ho. I'm all in. I was so excited, man. And, you know, then when they both came to my signing day, that really made me, like, solidified to me, like, all right, these some good good old heads right here. These some good brothers
Good
right there. And they've
yeah.
throughout my career, they've always been, man. You know, none of them never did no flaking type things on me, try to go Hollywood or none of that.
Yeah.
Like, nah. So I love them brothers to this day, man.
Nah, they two real ones. Like Juwan, that's our OG now. That's Luke right there. That's the homie. And C Webb.
You had him in Miami
too.
Yeah.
You know, that's from the crib. That's my OG from Chicago. You know, from
before
any of this.
That's even better.
Every summer at Hoops, he the picture of perfection. We show up to work out. Him and Finn Ball, John, they icing up. OG status. That's the OG for real. This is what I want to ask you though. Like you got to play with one of my favorite point guards ever, man. I think he get a little more respect nowadays, but I still don't think he get the proper respect he deserved, man. Rod Strickland, bro. Like, how was that to see how much of a magician and like how ill he was with that ball and how he got one of the all-time greatest layup packages ever, bro. Like, as far as like, I don't care if it's body and big men or whatever it was, he had a sick layup package. Like, how was that playing with that dude? And then he one of the coolest dudes too.
Man, I had the opportunity I got traded for Rod when I was in Washington. At the time, he was in Portland. So, boom, we was pretty much the main trade. But during my tenure in Portland, Rod came back for about,
I didn't even
realize
say
3 months.
Yeah. I did not realize y'all got traded for each other. I just remember y'all playing together.
Yeah. It was Rod and Harvey Grant for me and Mitchell Butler.
Right.
Yeah. From UCLA.
Yeah, I shout out Mitch. I know Mitch.
Yeah.
For them 3 months I was playing with Rod, everything was easy. Everything was easy. Like, no, he ain't got the greatest J4 point guard, but he can knock it down. But I don't care. He gonna get to that bucket, dog.
Yeah. Man.
He gonna get to that bucket and give you that that last second drop off for you to dunk, lay up, whatever.
Boy, he set the table.
What do we ever? Like a great waiter in a 5-star restaurant, man.
Straight up. At the time when you came in the league, center and big man was like the most dominant positions in the league. Everybody had centers and power forwards everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, for you to get a chance when Weber got hurt, to get a chance to actually play a lot, start the games and play a lot of minutes. When was that point where you was like, man, I can hold my own in this league the right way?
It was around the time when Webb went down. He had a little freak ankle accident, twisted his ankle when we were out in Phoenix. And that was my night to do it from there. And I knew basketball. So I knew, one, I wasn't going to get no plays. I had to earn my buckets, little tip things, run the floor, rebound.
Fill in,
And two, I knew the ball was going through Juwan because at the time, I don't know if y'all remember, Juwan was the first $100 million man.
First $100 million man, period.
$105 million. So I knew the rock was going through him. So I wasn't complaining to Coach Jimmy Lynam or whatever. That's my man too. I wasn't complaining to him about nothing. I knew what it was. I knew the game. I knew where I fell at on a pecking order. So, all right, for me to get some buckets, for me to shine, run. Run, get some dunks. And that's what it was. They knew they could throw me the oops. I was the high flyer on the team. You got the high flyer,
young
the
legs.
shooter, you got the defender. Yeah, young legs.
Run like a deer, jumping out the gym.
Man, Juwan, and you can ask Newt this. He told me a good one. So we somewhere one day, and I'm in a layup line giving the crowd my dunk contest. I'm giving them everything, right? Boom. And they just regular, right? I'm like, man, give me something. I'm trying to talk junk to them. They like, hey, young fella. He said, it's going to become a day when you in that layup line, when all that dunking shit, nah, you ain't going to be doing it.
You just trying to loosen this shit up.
You just trying to loosen up, and I'll be down. It triggered my head. The first day that I was just in the layup line, like years later, like, I was like, oh, I see what Newt meant now.
Hey, we all been there, bro. We all been there. Then you turn around before you know it, you got some little young punk talking about you old, calling you OG. You like, what? Like, I came in here 19, boy, I was calling everybody old. Now they calling me.
Now you done did your thing in Washington, and like you done made a name for yourself, and now where a team wants you to come to them and be the man now. Like, in Portland trade for you, to bring you over here to be the man there. How was that to a team, first off, a team to commit to you and knowing what you finna bring to the table, you finna get your opportunity to get all the plays and they come through you and stuff like that. How was that?
Man, truth be told, it was a little bit easy, and I gotta thank my old heads for that, my veterans for that. Cliff Robinson,
Uncle
Jerome
Cliffy.
Kersey, and Kevin Duckworth, rest in peace. So,
Yeah.
because they told me the real about, how it is. They didn't put a lot of pressure on me, like, all right, yo, you got to go out here and get us 30 or we not going to win. It was never none of that. So to just sit back and listen to them, I was like, all right, now just go out and play. And then what I like to do, I'm not about no one-man show because I feel like, if I wanted to, I could go out there and average 30. I could have went out there and put up at least 20, 25 shots a game, but it wouldn't have got me more than half of the wins that I did end up getting in my career or anything like that. So, all right, we're going to incorporate all 5 of these guys because I'd rather get slapped. You could slap me, poke me in the eye, but it's just all loose. But what's going to hurt more if you get punched? So my whole team philosophy was like, look, let's come together. Let's punch these cats in the face. And we almost did that with LA, man, but they had the greatest athlete on earth at that time, bro. Big Shaq, man. Shaq wasn't going for none of that, yo.
I remember when we first got to the league and like y'all had a lot of superstar players, like in the sense of big names and all that stuff. Portland always kept like big names on their team, from the DAs to the Damon Stoudemires. Bonzi made a name. You had Pip and all that. But you was the only one that was really dunking like that. Like that. So when we used to play against y'all used to kick the shit out of us. And sometimes we'll get that bitch close to y'all. But we would dunk and you would be mad them up. So every time you dunk, you would get the hollering, screaming and shit. I remember Bonzi stole that bitch from me, right? I'm getting the rebound, so I'm trying to push every time, trying to make sure I get down the court before the big man because I'm playing power forward. And Bonzi stole that bitch early, and when he stole it, I tried to look back, and he threw that bitch up in the air, and you just grabbed it with one hand. I didn't even think you can
Way back here. Way back here.
I didn't think you could catch that motherfucker.
I remember the play
you caught
and
that
everything.
motherfucker way back here, and you dumped it so hard and holler. I just shook my head. It wasn't, you know how you wave at somebody and get out the way? That's what I did.
Just like keep it going. Oh, yeah, I remember that play. Yeah, everybody always send me that too. Definitely. I would say I got 3 good dunks, and my bad, D Miles. That was one of them. The first time I dunked on 3 cats when I dunked on them 3 dummies from Duke, and that's all in the same photo shot with the tip dunk. And then I had a good dunk one time when I was in high school, a putback, where my knee was on this cat neck, and he was about 6'3", and the ref called the over the back on me because I was like, what? He said, man, your knee was on his neck. And I'll be damned, I lie to y'all not, right hand to the man, my science teacher at the time, Mr. Hussein, he took a picture of it, and I'll be damned. So
well, your
you part of that though, D Miles, my man.
Oh no, hey bro.
You know what I mean?
I don't got no problem with it, bro.
Hey,
when you play this game and you really play D, you gonna get dunked on and you gonna block a couple of dunks. So
I'm glad we got to share that because he always trying to talk shit about me. About my first dunk on was Mookie Blaylock, and first of all, I can't remember. I want to say my first time.
How can you brag on Mookie Blaylock? He shouldn't even tell nobody no shit like that, right?
First of all, Rasheed.
Mookie.
Mookie. But Rasheed, the truth is the truth. You can't make up somebody. If you ask me the first person I dunked on, I got to tell the truth. I can't say it was Shaq. If it wasn't Shaq, it was Mookie Blaylock. It was Mookie Blaylock.
You remember when we first came in the league and we used to play against y'all? Because we used to play against y'all a whole lot.
I remember y'all. West, they made. Yeah, you was out there in the West with me with the Clippers, and they made a big name about y'all young fellas, especially when y'all started doing all this right here.
None of the coaches wanted us to do it.
But look, but that's what gave y'all staple. So anytime you had the kids that back home on the schoolyard doing all that and everything, and it was just something that we do up in the Black community or whatever. So I knew what it was. And no, it was, to me, that was tough. I loved y'all young boys, man. When y'all came into the league, y'all was the young gunners. Y'all was the young gunners.
Bring all the energy and stuff like that. We was happy to be in that motherfucker.
Night in, night out.
I play for the Clippers. I get drafted to the worst team. I play for the Clippers, and then they trade me to the Cavs, which is the worst team in the NBA. So I finally get traded to a playoff team, and I got Rasheed Wallace, I got Zebo, Damon Stoudemire, Derek Anderson, Ruben Patterson, like Dale
Things is
Davis.
looking
I'm
up.
like, oh my God, it's finna go down. I remember they just lost the game with it to the Lakers, all that stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm finna make the playoffs. I ain't made the playoffs just like my 5th year. So I get there, and the first thing she say, D-Mile, I'm about this joint. I'm like, what? Do you remember we played together when I got traded there? We played together for probably about a month. We probably played 15 games, but we won like 13 of them. We beat the Lakers, went on the East Coast swing, ran them on off. We probably lost like literally 3 games and probably won like 13 because y'all had a slow start that year. But I don't know if it was, I give myself some props, pat myself on, but I don't know if it was a spark of D Miles was in the jail when we got traded. We started getting, because we was
blood.
We was actually at the end of that season, we was actually 4 games out the playoff because they traded for Theo Ratliff and Shareef Abdul-Rahim. But I remember
it was new blood.
I remember I kept on begging you, like, you got to stay, because we got Zebo on this block. I got you on that block. We got DA over there. I'm running the 3. We got Damon playing the point. And then when I see you win a championship with the Detroit Pistons, and I be like, damn, Chauncey Billups is Damon Stoudemire. Richard Hamilton is Derek Anderson. Tayshaun Prince, me. They got Ben Wallace. We got a kind of a better scoring Ben Wallace, but we got Ben Wallace. At Zebo, and I see you win a championship, and I just remember you get out of here. And then I seen when you was at the wrestling match. I mean, they had a wrestling match at the Rose.
That's when I found out.
And I'm walking, me and Zebo, now we walking in. You like, D-Miles, I told you, I'm up out this joint. I'm gonna see y'all boys later. And I ain't see you no more after that, man. But I wanted you to play. I just wanted to play with that team. And Portland Trailblazers made the playoffs 22 years in a row. The year I get there, they don't make that bitch no more for another 5, 6, 7.
He thought he was on his way. He thought he was well on his way.
So you like owe me one. Believe in us like this.
It was 7 years, but no, it was the new GM that they brought in. I knew I was out of, and like you said, things was looking up. It was a good situation. Mo was our coach. Mo Cheeks is our coach, and everything was cool.
Yeah.
And boom,
Nash
man, we get a new GM. And John Nash came in. That's the first thing I told Mo. I said, oh, I'm out of here. And Mo looked at me like, what? Like, man, whatever, like nothing. And then I told y'all through that, because I knew he was the one who traded me from Washington to Portland.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, because I never knew him in college or any of that. So I don't know what it was with his personal thing, as in to trade me, I guess, with me, being the best piece of trade bait. That's all I could see. But I knew I was out of there. I told everybody, Bonzi, I told Zach, I told you. I was like, yo, Mo, I'm out of here. And it's not that I wanted to be out of there, but I knew he was going to trade me. He was either going to trade me or force my hand for me to say that I want out. But Paul Allen, rest his soul too. Paul Allen, that was my man. I ain't had no beef, no gripes with him.
My man.
Man, he was a great dude.
Great dude.
Dog.
Great
he was
owner.
one of the very few great owners. Yes.
Yeah.
And dog, they once they got me up out of there and went to Detroit and saw what type of cats they were, I was like, look, hey, I said, it's going to be like this for 7 years, because he's going to get rid of everybody who makes a significant difference during the game. They want to go young, get all the nice guys in there, because that's when we had the whole Jailblazers theme.
And I came in on the back end of that.
Exactly. So if I would have stayed, like if me and Bonzi or me and Damon would have stayed, you would have been labeled a Jailblazer too.
I know, I was labeled. I was with Zebo, so me and Zebo was the last of the Mohicans. But that was like, the reason I say that, because like I said, I see you win a championship with a team that's similar to the Blazer team that you left. And that was the best team in my NBA career that I had the opportunity to start with. And that was the best 5 I ever played with in my NBA career, when I played with you, Zebo, DA, and Damon. And Nash signed me and told me, like, I'm gonna give you all this money. You are a franchise player, but I'm gonna start Shareef. And I was like, I just started last year. Why would you give me the money and tell me to come off the bench?
It ain't make no sense, did it?
Yeah, it was, and you told me to leave that motherfucker, but I can't pass up on 50 million if I ain't never had 50 million.
You got one of the weirdest stats. Like you played one game for the Atlanta Hawks. Just one. Like first, do you still have that jersey? Is it framed anywhere?
Yep.
Like it's part of the collect? Okay. But how was
still
that
got it.
experience for you to be like there for one game and then you off to the Pistons, and we gonna talk about what happened out there, but how was that to be like you get traded, from the Blazers to the Hawks and you there for one game?
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. Real
Got
talk.
you A-Town for a couple days.
Yo, so I got traded during the whole All-Star break, so I had to go down there, and it was crazy when I went down there and checked into the hotel. What was there? They was having the National Barber and Hairdresser Convention. I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna start off here in the A, huh?
Some listeners might not know what's going on right now, but just know that if you like us, it was a good time.
Oh my gosh. So I'm down there, and down there for a couple of days, we practicing. So our first road game was against the defending Eastern Conference champs. At the time was the Nets with J Kidd, Kmart, Kerry Skittles,
RJ.
the RJ, that whole squad. So boom, we playing them in Jersey, and we almost got that game. But man, to play with Steve Jack and Jay Terry, I felt like back in Carolina, where I had a killer point guard, big point guard, Jason Terry.
Mac.
Had to respect him, and that was my J Mac. Then I had Steve Jack. He was my Stackhouse. That wing player. He could shoot, dominant, athletic, and had that killer attitude too. I was like, man, I said we could do something. I said we can't make the playoffs. It's too late, but we can mess it up for everybody else.
Yeah. Right.
And that one game, man, I loved it. I was so looking forward to a home game.
So how was it in your mind when you get the news like right before the deadline that you about to get moved to the Pistons, and you know what I'm saying, you already know what they got. You know what I'm saying, you've been in the league long enough to know them guys, and you know what they bring. Then they got Coach Larry Brown, who a Carolina guy, you know him somewhat. Like, what was your thoughts headed into that situation?
I was thinking three things. One, damn, I was just talking shit to these guys 2 weeks ago when we was out there in Detroit. So now, same guys I talk shit to, now we teammates. So I hope they ain't take it personal.
Right.
And I was like, second, as you just mentioned, Q, with LB, Larry Brown, that whole Carolina connection, that made it comfortable. And that also put my mindset in, okay, I know what type of coach I have. I know what type of coach, he is. And that third was my man D Ham. I had new D Ham from beforehand, Darvin Ham from beforehand, and just talking with him, and he was like, "Yo, you gonna love it. Guys, it's cool. It's no egos and this and that." I'm like, "No." I said, "Dog, it's no way that you could be around 14 other professionals and nobody have an ego." I was like, "It's no way." I said, "I've seen it throughout the NBA, throughout professional sports." He's like, "I'm telling you." And I'll be damned if he wasn't right. It was no egos. And so when I got there, just trying to find my niche, because one, they were already a team.
Yeah.
And they were already, to me, a pretty good team on the rise, especially when they had Rick Carlisle.
Yeah.
So with Chauncey, again, being blessed with another big point guard. Damon Stoudemire was the smallest point guard I played with in my career. And just playing with that squad, figuring them out, was like, all right, cool. But the hardest one for me to figure out was Ben. And reason being, come to find out, he was just like me. His birthday is like 2 weeks before mine. Same year and everything. So I'm like, oh, all right, that's me. That's why he like that. So, all right. But it was awesome, though, man. I loved it, dog. I felt it as being a fresh start. Yeah. I wish I could have still had at least a year or two of athleticism left like I had in Portland to bring it to Detroit.
I played for LB, Coach Larry Brown, in New York. I got his 1 year in New York was my first year there. So, and we had a whole lot of ups and downs and struggles and stuff, but that was one of the things that how Coach is. He's like a teacher and a storyteller in a way when he's coaching you and stuff. So he would use you as an example all the time. He was like, we won a whole championship because we made one move and one guy came in and he was a linebacker. And he it didn't matter. You heard his voice everywhere, on the bus, in the locker room, all on the court. He was like, and that's what he was like, you have to be like that. He was like, he was the difference in us winning. And I feel like Coach Brown, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he got a bad rap in New York with us because it was a crazy group, bro. Like, you know how it is in the league when you got a whole bunch of big name guys where they in the at a turning point in their career or whatever that they going through, and everybody bag. Everybody is bagged out. So it's like, you know, you got people with egos. Like, I got my money, I could do this, I could do that, and it was one of the craziest years you would ever even imagine.
Y'all did have
bro.
a wild year.
Whoa, boy, I'm just like, I'm talking about, I promise you, he used you as the example so many times, and like, boy, just always like, listen, this man came in with all the money. He already had money. It didn't matter. He could have, you know what I'm saying, did this and that. He came in and gave himself to the team. Like always, you know what I'm saying? You know, we always rock, but I just think about that when we talk about Coach B.
Man, LB, and I used to call him pound for pound. Like, and I gotta agree with you, Q. He is a hell of a basketball coach, a great coach. He eats, sleep, drink, and shit basketball. You know, and it kills him. I know it's killing him now with this whole COVID situation and with gyms being closed. You know, it's killing LB right now because he just likes to teach basketball. Yeah. And I think that's, again, as you mentioned, about the whole ego thing, and we didn't have that in Detroit. I think that's what made it to the point where, okay, like, we can rock and roll with LB, you know, because as a coach, now y'all know some coaches got bigger egos than the players that they're coaching. Yeah. So, but LB ain't have no egos. He's like, look, I just want to go out here. Let's play some basketball. Let's just win. Give me everything you got. I'm gonna give you everything I got. And at the end of the day, go home and kiss the babies. And that's what I love about him, man. If you're not, LB is a mental coach. Fact. He's a mental coach for sure. If your mentality is just like, all right, I'm gonna just come in the gym, practice, and I'm going home, and he's your coach, you're not gonna like him. You know, cause now he's making you late for lunch with, you know, your wife or your girlfriend, or, you know, now he's making you late for this appearance or that appearance because he got you in that gym. Work. Oh, yeah. That's all he want to do is work. And I remember his biggest slogan when I got to Detroit was, Cadillacs down there, worker bees down here. And at first I was like, man, what the hell? And then D-Ham was like, look, if you want to get some extra work in, go with the worker bees. But if you just chilling, want to get some shots up, talking shit, go down there with the Cadillac. And I was like, I said, all right, I got him now. I got him.
I like that. I like that.
And that's all he is, man. LB, great guy too, man. He just loves basketball. He cares about his players, even to this day. And if I'm not mistaken, he's one of very few coaches who can name damn near all his players on both levels. And he's the only coach to win an NCAA and NBA championship. Head coach.
Mm-hmm. You almost had the opportunity to slay the Giant by beating the Lakers with Portland. Then you get the opportunity to play them in a championship. Like take us back, like, going into that series, because they coming off 3 straight. They got Shaq, Kobe, and plus they added a little bit more work in Malone and GP and all that.
Mm-hmm. And so legendary work.
So to coming into that, you know, a lot of people didn't have y'all to be favorites or have y'all to win shit out of that. Actually, probably had y'all to get swept. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But y'all came in and y'all do the sweeping and y'all do the ass kicking. Like, how was that? Just take us to the process of when y'all first started that series and getting to the end when you won that championship finally.
Game 1, I felt before the tip, I'm like, yo, this redemption for me. I'm like, here it is. I was just in this building a few years ago trying to get to an NBA Finals, but it fell apart for us. Then, you know, it fell apart for us quite a few times dealing with LA because the dynamic duo, man. Boy. They were Batman and Robin. Batman and Superman, whatever combo you want to say.
That was them.
They was them boys.
Straight up.
And for so many years to be sitting at home getting put out the playoffs, playing until like beginning of May and losing to the Lakers in 5 or losing to the Lakers in 6 or getting swept by the Lakers.
That boy said this time he was in his Marshall Mathers mode.
God,
He was sitting there like, it's time. I got redemption on my mind.
So I'm back. I said, I'm back. I said, I got a better defensive team. I got guys who are more team oriented and have the will to win. I was like, we're going to kick these guys' ass. Mm-hmm. And, we all had that feeling going to that game 1. The locker room, it's normal. It wasn't like, all right, it wasn't quiet. It was like, we got to focus. This is game 1 of the fight. It was normal. That like we were pretty much arrogant. I'm not even gonna lie, because we knew what we could do, and we knew that they couldn't do nothing to do anything about what we was about to do to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So came out there, game 1, ran them out the gym. Boom, and we played as a unit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just one person,
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, we all could be averaging 30 on other teams, but no, we playing as that unit. Everybody, the bench included. Boom, we playing as a unit. So we like, boom, all right. So game 1, we like, all right, we stole 1. We did what we were supposed to do. We had to get 1 out to 2 at home, in LA, excuse me. We did what we were supposed to do. So now let's go out here game 2. Let's go and get game 2. So boom, we go out game 2. Dogfight, and rest his soul, the great player that he is. Kobe hit a big shot for him to give them, the go-ahead, boom. So now we going back to Detroit, 1-1. Mm-hmm. So we like, on this plane ride, everything was normal for about the first hour or 2. Guys playing cards, a couple guys watching movies, other guys just chit-chatting. But for some reason, it seemed to be around the same time, and we all pretty much was thinking it and brought it up like, y'all know we can't go back. Because y'all know what's going to happen if we go back. So we're going to have to end this right here in Detroit. And that game 3 came out, 4, and then when we smelled that blood like that shark, a shark can smell blood in the water up to 7, 8 miles away. So, and after we beat them that game 4, smelled that blood. We was like, oh, we got them. They ain't know what to do. LB mixed the whole game plan up. Like say the call might have been the Hawk, right? And so it's regular Hawk cut during the season. But in the playoffs and that championship series, the Hawk cut is something totally different. But they think and they scout like, oh, it's Hawk play. No, oh, man. Hey, slicing through them like a hot knife through butter. And then we also said that we know that at the time, David Stern wanted to get at to him because it was his Hall of Fame team. You got Hall of Fame Kobe, Hall of Fame Shaq, Hall of Fame Karl Malone, in my opinion, Hall of Fame GP. You got Hall of Fame Derek Fisher. Right. You got a lot of Hall of Famers playing on this team. So yeah, it would have been a perfect storybook ending to beat us.
But I feel like when I watched that series, like, y'all believed in the game plan. It just looked like y'all was just a team that just played together, believed in the game plan. Y'all didn't care who scored the point, long as it was more points than they had. Y'all just were playing around. On defense, y'all played as y'all always on that rope. Y'all always rotating. Y'all always doubling down, rotate. They couldn't, just because they swung it out. If they weren't swinging to the Kobe, they swung to everybody else. It didn't matter. Y'all wasn't doing too much in that.
I'm happy to say I got 2 NBA records that'll never be broken. Mm-hmm. One is getting 40-something technicals in one season. I doubt that'll ever be broken. And then 2 was that defensive stint that we had when I was with the Pistons, when we had like 7, 8 games and held high-scoring teams under 70 points. And the crazy thing about it, I swear to y'all, the last 2 games that we did it, we tried to do it. But like the first 5 or 6 games we did it, we were just playing.
Playing the right way.
Yeah. That was our slogan, D Miles, the right way.
That's Coach Brown's slogan. Play the right way. That's Coach.
Way.
Listen, that's his deal. All right, so how did it feel like when you finally you achieved it? You made to the top of the mountain. I seen you get the swaggy WWE belts made. Like, tell me what that was like. Like, now I'm a champion. Like, what's that feeling like?
Can't tell you nothing.
It was nostalgic, man. It was you know how you ever heard the expression like, oh, I'm about to die, my life flashed before my eyes. Well, when that clock hit zeros, everything that I did up to that point flashed before my eyes. The hard work, standing out there at the bus stop in the snow, having cat. You know, I got robbed a couple times. Cat snatched my bus pass. You know, now I got to walk home in the snow. Then, you know, playing in this place, playing in that place. All the times I had to do push-ups and I couldn't do them, or I had to do this and I couldn't do all of that in a quick flash. And then to see that confetti come down, man, and then to hear Queen song play, "We Are the Champions," and then to have that actual, that material, that golden ball in your hand, it's like, yo, it was everything that I did, all the injuries, all the times that, you know, we lost, and all the fights that I had, and this and that. I said, all that's forgotten. It's worth it when you hold that ball up.
It was all worth it. It was all worth it.
I'm at the top of the mountain now, sipping the juice. We the best in the world. We catching that fresh breeze. You know what I'm saying? And it was lovely, man. I'll never forget it. And the thing about it, each year after that, NBA Finals time, you know, it's nostalgic, bro. And, you know, we always, even to this day, we still text each other like, man, yo, y'all remember when we did this and that in the finals? And like, it's nostalgic. You'll never forget it. They're your brothers for life.
For life.
That's dope.
For life.
That's dope.
After y'all won that championship, that next year y'all trying for a back-to-back, and y'all run into a team that's way more disciplined and don't feel like they don't have that type of swag as the Lakers have. You playing San Antonio, they basically a team like y'all. I feel it was a great matchup. I was so happy that they made it there, because it was like, man, I want to see these perfect two teams play with each other. Go through that process of how you think y'all lost that championship.
Oh, it was a lot. And I would have to say, you know, I added on to that. For number one, we knew that they were the NBA's team. David Stern loved them because at the time, and y'all can go back and look this up, he called him his team of United Nations. Doing pre-games and, you know, this and that. His team United Nations, that was his biggest thing. And that's when he was trying to make that whole push and whole move to get the NBA over in China. So he's you know, glorifying the whole fact that, okay, here we have a team playing for the world championship in the NBA, and it's only 2 or 3 Americans on there out of the 15 guys, my team in United Nations. So one, we already knew what we was up against. And yeah, I gotta say a lot of it canceled each other out. As far as the positions, as far as the coaches, it was a hell of a battle. And it just came down to like, it was a whole lot more for us to fight, you know. And y'all know what I'm talking about when you get them crews in there and, you know, them home crews and everything. So we knew what we were facing. We knew it was an uphill battle, but yet we're the champs. We were the champs, but we knew it was still an uphill battle for us. We knew we wasn't going to get no home court love or none of that. And it was a hell of a match, though. It's a hell of a match, 7 games. And it came down to, I think we lost by like 6, 7.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't regret it.
Talk about some of those, like y'all had some classic battles with LeBron and his Cavs teams between 06 and 09. Tell me about how that was for y'all. Cause like y'all, I mean, I think y'all kind of helped him in his maturity, you know what I'm saying? Y'all was kind of like how, you know, y'all grow. Was a building, y'all was a stepping stone in his thing, like how the Mike had to get past the bad boys. Like y'all was kind of like a bad boy kind of deal for him. Like it took a couple years for him to climb that mountain on y'all. How was that? How was that battle for y'all?
I do got to agree with you, Q. I think we did help with the maturation level of the way that LeBron plays now, especially when it's dealing with big games or in the playoffs, because coming down there, no, we didn't make nothing easy for him. You know, with some hard fouls. Then, you know, you had the whole beef with myself and Varejao and then with all the other guys that they had on the team. So it was tough. It was nice. It was fun. I'll say that. You know, the guy, he's a hell of a player, but it was always some great series. We love going out there. And the fact that, it was all in conference, only a couple hours away. They were always great series with us.
Nah, yeah, I mean, those series against y'all, like once he finally broke through, I mean, he gained. For me, it was like a respect factor. Cause I always had to guard and play against him, and I used to be like, okay, but like I always wanted to see him just take over. Like when I don't remember what it was, he went for like 20 or 30 straight points on y'all, whatever. Like when he just went crazy, and I was like, okay, like this is the switch that I've been looking for in him. Like, cause like you say, from inception, since you seen him, you knew he was special. You knew that he could do some of everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And when he did that against y'all, cause it was like number one, he did it. But number two, it was against y'all. That was what made the respect factor go up. Like, look, this young kid this young boy just showed out right now. Like, all right, now, gotta cut the shit. He just acted a fool, for real. And it was like, that was like when I had to start looking like, hold on, this motherfucker, he's super different with that shit. Like, it was impressive.
Yeah, it was.
Another one of my favorite players is Kevin Garnett. Like, one of my favorite players. To see y'all, like how y'all embrace each other and y'all got the respect for each other, to get the opportunity to go to the Celtics and get the opportunity to play with your mans. Like, and I know how much y'all respect each other. How was that for you to just, you and your man to actually be on the team and rock together on the NBA level?
Man, it made it easy. It was, truth be told, it was like I looked at that same situation as myself and Dale Davis, with myself and Ben. And then with now myself and KG, I was thankful enough to be, paired up with another forward/center who is defensive minded.
Yeah.
And y'all know that's all KG is. He's gonna try to get in your head. He's gonna do everything he got to do before the game to get you psyched out, because that's half of the battle right there. And it's just his whole presence. Like he gets up for it, and that's like, all right. When at first I got there, I'm like, man, this dude crazy. But then just being there and knowing him, I'm like, all right. I was like, man, this is going to be a great year right here. And my first few practices, it was that starting five: Rondo, Paul, Ray, Perk, KG versus me, Big Baby,
Tony Allen,
TA, Eddie House, and who was our other one?
Was Posey still on that team? Posey was
no, I didn't play with Pose. Pose is gone. I want to say it might have been Marquise Daniels, my man.
Keith,
and dog. So we in practice, and KG's KG. Oh yeah, y'all know. Oh, hold up, dog. I talk too. We going back and forth, and at the end of practice, we all just sitting around, and Big Baby's like, man, I ain't never seen nobody go back and talk junk to KG like that before. He's like, I'm glad you here. And I'm like, oh, man. And we just all started cracking up, though. But it was lovely, though, man. It was lovely. It was a defensive-minded team.
Yeah, y'all the mirror. Y'all looking at y'allself. Both of y'all, like, just like you looking at him talking about you. This is crazy. Like, that's how we was all looking at you when you saw, like, man, this man crazy. He getting texts. He doing this. Like, you crazy. So y'all looking at each other the same way.
Yeah, and I'd say that the only difference between KG and I do agree with you. There's a lot of similarities. The only difference is I would say he's a better rebounder than I am, but I would have to say I'm a better shooter than he is. But if you take that away, everything else is same. Defensive minded, we're going to get you up, talk junk, blah, 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 blah. Forget everybody else. We focused on his team, do this right now. It's all the same.
I've heard a lot of people, well, your former teammates or teammates that you play with and stuff like that, say that they can't wait for you to get the technical foul because they know when you get it, they know what's about. No, I'm serious. Like, I've heard Chauncey, I done heard these dudes, I done heard Rip said, like, nah,
once he get his
when
first
he get that technical, like, now he about to go hoop. Like, because sometimes you might be out there just chilling, not really engaged, but then, like, if something get you upset, oh, now it's about to be on. So what you think about that? That when you got the text, that sometimes turn your motor on and get you hyped up, like, oh, okay. That's what we on. Like, I'm about to go off now. Like,
For sure. Sometimes it did. And I would definitely have to say, like, if the ref, all right, boom, you call a foul on me, all right, foul, line, can't go to the line. But then I go back down the other end and you see him foul me, but you don't call nothing. But then you come back down the other end and you call pity-pat foul. All right, I'm going to let you have it now. So this is what I'm going to do. Not only am I going to talk shit to you, but I'm going to make you call this foul. Hey, Chance, ball, no, we're going to turn 4. Chance, right here, come on. Or at times when, you know, Chauncey or any of the other guys got mad. Hey, all right, that's how. Hey, She, let's go. Come on. And so I'm going to make you call this foul. But I knew that I was never one of the favorites of the officials.
You grew up in Philly and you was a Knicks fan. They say once a Knick, always a Knicks. You got the opportunity to put a New York Knicks jersey on and play in the Garden. And, you know, like for a basketball player, I don't give a fuck where you from. You always want to kind of do that or experience that at least one time in your career. How was that for you to experience that coming from Philly and just being around that?
Man, it was love. It was huge because, I grew up a Knicks fan because of Pat Ewing, following him at Georgetown. You know, I always loved my Sixers, but when I had the opportunity when, Coach Woody called me, Mike Woodson, when he called me like, man, you know, what you doing? Might need your help a little bit, blah, blah, blah. And when I came up to see that team, to first when you walk into the Garden, and, you know, you seeing those banners up there. It's a different feeling, real talk, when you playing against them. And, you know, you got that nostalgia and you hear the crowd and this and that. So you like, oh, man, that's the Garden. This is what everybody, all the hubbub's about. But when you playing for them, it's a totally different experience when you walk in that Garden. It's like you automatically get smacked with the history. You know, you walking in the back hallway, you know, you seeing
pictures on the wall.
Clyde Frazier. Yeah, you seeing all the former Knicks
and everything,
and
the players,
it's like the boxing events, all
hockey,
of this
everything
happened in this building for the last like a cajillion years or whatever.
Right.
And so to be part of that, I was like, man, you know, I'm lucky, I'm thankful. I was like, this is. It was almost kind of sort of like a dream come true because I did especially when I was younger. Wouldn't have mind playing for the Knicks because, as I said, huge Patrick Ewing fan. So to see that and, you know, the practice facility, and to me, it was a Class A organization from the way that they treated their players and everything like that. So I get a lot of flack because people are like, oh man, Dolan trash. They get rid of Dolan, this and that. And all I gotta tell people is like, look, for my 1 year that I was there, Dolan was first class. You know, he wasn't never scared to come downstairs. He ain't always sitting in his box upstairs. Came downstairs, interacted with us in the locker room, all that.
Listen, bro, I say a lot of times too, like, you know, I played 4 years there, so obviously people hit me with the comments and this, that, and the third about Dolan and this, that, and the third, and he's the reason. I'm not ever trying to like say that this man is perfect because I don't know his life and I see a lot of things written about him. But like you say, I can speak to my experience with him in my 4 years as a player and the things that I observed and the people that I know there, that what they observed. So like when I talk to a person like John Wallace, like, you know what I'm saying? You'd be hard pressed to find, like, I don't know the facts or the numbers, but you could look at a lot of teams and you go look at that Knicks organization. It's a whole lot of dudes that played for that team that's being employed and working within that organization and have been for a long time, like not just recently because this has just been how he operated with those guys. Those guys all to a man be like, man, look, man, he ain't like, all right, whatever, he ain't perfect, but it ain't nowhere near as bad as they try and make like he's the sole reason. I don't believe that he's the sole reason that the Knicks aren't successful. I think it's a joint
collective
effort of a lot of effort of a lot of different things going on, and it's not just him. And I think like they think that if, you know, he just sell the team like the problem is solved, I think they would quickly find that it would still not be just over with. You know what I'm saying? It's not that simple.
Fact that, for sure. I got to agree with you there.
That was my only time that I was really like a teammate of She. We got a little stint together then, you know what I'm saying? I was riding to the airport with him and all that. He was picking me up. We had the Camaro playing the song, the pull-up song. He got his pull-up song. Like that was, like we kind of really retired together because like that was it for me, and then that was like it for you. Like we kind of that was it. Like we got that was the last little time we lost in that playoffs to the Pacers. They put us out, and then, you know, that was kind of it for us. So, you know, just want to throw that in there.
That was a hell of a year too. Look, so I say this: I got a scoring championship, I won an NBA title, and I got a 6-man. My 6-man scoring championship came from the Knicks because JR got the 6-man, and that's when Melo had got the scoring title. And man, just that whole year, I think we won like what 52, 53 games.
They was the number 1 seed. Yeah, we was the number 1 seed.
All that, man. That was the last time. I would say the last hoorah that they had.
I set out. You remember I got what? That was my last year. I got waived by the Magic after training camp. Set out the whole year. And the Knicks signed me 2 days, bro. 2 days before the end of the season. You were there. You can vouch for this. Remember the game I played? I had to play all the minutes and I threw up walking into halftime. bro, I was trying to make it off the court. D-Miles. And look, I didn't know. You remember they had remodeled the garden, so I'm oblivious. I don't even know. Bro, I'm trying. Let me tell you what happened. This was the worst part. Like they had clinched the number 1 seed, so they resting people. No Melo, no Tyson Chandler, no all of these people. They sitting them out. So we sitting there. It's like it's about to be me, Pablo Prigion. We only had literally like 6 dudes. Like they made JR just put a warm up on. He didn't have a jersey on because he wasn't going to get. But you got to officially have 8. You got to have 8 bodies out there officially. We had Earl Barron. We had signed Earl.
Yep. EB. Yep.
Bro, first quarter, Pablo Prigioni twist his ankle. He done. So now we down to 6 players, bro. I ain't played all year. Now this is when I know I could be factual and tell anybody want this. I don't give a damn about no treadmill. I don't give a damn about riding no bike. I don't give a damn about running around no neighborhood. I did all 3 in Orlando, hot as hell, Florida, running and all this. Man, I got my ass out there. Soon as he went down, I saw I had to play the extra minutes. I just started praying. I was like, please let me make it through this, bro. Like that halftime buzzer thing went off, and I felt like somebody had to punch me in the stomach, bro. I walked so slow. I was walking so slow and focused. I'm holding my breath so I don't make sure I don't swallow the wrong way. It don't come. Well, I said, man, as soon as I hit the curtains, and I'm like, come on, I'm like, free. Throw up right there, right? Bro, they didn't change the whole background. They got the whole courtside club with the glasses right here. Everybody looking. I'm like, oh, they come get me through. I'm like, man, I don't care. I'm like, they clean. I say, man, look, they was like, and then I went out
like this.
Man, dog, I was so unfair. They came cleaned it up real quick. I finished the game. I played the game. I ain't do shit. I got 11 rebounds though, bro. I ain't score no. I think I may score 1 bucket, but got me some boards. You know what I'm saying?
It was a great year, man.
Fun team. That team was so fun, dog. Like, tell them how crazy Iman Shumpert was. Was he not hilarious?
Shump, Q, myself, Kurt Thomas, Marcus Camby,
Tyson Chandler.
Tyson Chandler.
Camby, my homeboy Camby.
Jay Smith. Yeah, I said Marcus. Pablo Prigioni. Ronnie Brewer.
Melo.
Yup, Melo. Who else? I think I'm missing one more. But it was a hell of a team. And with it being a veteran team.
Did you say J Kidd? Did you put J Kidd in there?
Yeah, I put J Kidd in there. You know, everybody was in their lane, and all the veteran dudes for the most part, all the old heads, we always just hanging out together. It was like, man, a country club. That's right.
I tell Shump every single time. I can't think about him. Like, if I see him on social media, everything, I always think of him in that Rick Ross song, You Don't Even Know. Remember how he played that before every single playoff game? And that boy went to dancing and doing his own rap before every game.
Chicago dances.
Shump, boy, kept it lit, bro. It was never a dull moment on that team, boy. I swear.
And he had bars.
Bars, still do.
Yeah.
Tell me this. When, where, how did Ball Don't Lie begin? Where did the birth of Mr. Ball Don't Lie? Please.
You know, it's just regular talk that we all do on the schoolyard, man. You know, I'm pretty sure it's some sayings that from y'all hoods where y'all grew up at, you know, out there in the loo and everything. I know y'all got y'all own slang and everything. So it's just all schoolyard talk. And one day, you know, I heard guys in my neighborhood saying, that ball don't lie. You know, when a guy, we all been through it, boom, calls a foul on last points of the game. Oh, foul. All right, I'm going to respect the call. So here it go. Boom, boom, boom. You got the ball back and you take another shot and you miss it. And the opposing people get the rebound. Yeah, that ball don't lie with your cheating ass.
All right.
And so it just came out one day. I just blurted it out. You know, just going back to it because I was upset with the official for calling a bogus call for the cat that was on the line. And when he clunked that first one, That's where them 3 words was born.
We play a game on here where we say start, bench, cut. You know what I'm saying? So for you, start, bench, cut, Chris Webber, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett. Who would you start? Who would you bench? Who would you cut?
Ooh, all right. What era? You talking about?
They all in their prime. They all in their prime. They all in their prime.
Everybody in their prime. Damn, that's hard. Damn, you said three big names too. All right, so I would have to say start. For me personally, the way I feel, I'm gonna start KG.
Yep.
I'm gonna bring Tim Duncan off the bench because that's my security with defense, or even more defense. But I would have to cut Webb because out of the 3, he's the worst defender.
Chip. Okay.
It ain't even a matter of a chip. He's the worst defender out of the 3.
Okay, I got
I know something I wanted to ask you. I always wanted to ask you. How in the fuck do you play in Air Force One high tops?
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say, like,
nobody in the history. I ain't seen nobody since the 80s wearing no flat shoes and hooping them up. Like,
but
how did you pull that off? And like, how did you pull it off?
You made that, you made that a signature shoe. Like like, not only how did you pull it off, but like, how much hood love do you get? You gotta get
the high tops, them sheets. You get them low top joints, but them high tops, them sheets.
But the whole hood has to respect and love it. That's the hood shoe of America.
In Philly and all our hoods. That's you know, it's like the hood shoes, the Cadillac of shoes in the hood.
That was the most expensive. That was the shoe you could afford. That was the nicest. That was you know what I'm saying?
$75.
Man.
For any color, $75. So when I got to the league, the reason that I did wear them was because they were the only true high top sneaker. It was either going to be wearing Air Force Ones, or I don't know if y'all remember the David Robinsons that had the little little air pump joint.
Yeah.
It was either Air Force Ones or the David Robinsons. I was like, all right, I'm not going to wear another dude's shoe who I don't know. At the time, I didn't know David Robinson or anything about him, so I went with the Air Force One. But what made it easy to wear was the orthotics. You know, take the regular flat insole out, like you said, and you know, you put that orthotic in and it's molded to your foot. But my main thing was just the protection of my ankles, man. That's why I always wore high tops. Like to see big men now hooping Kobe's or KD's, that's low tops. And like, yo, you will shatter your ankle in them joints, B.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I got to protect the money makers somehow, some way. So your knees, to me, protect your back, your knees, and your ankle/feet.
Yeah. Right. Oh no, you was out there looking fresher than a motherfucker though.
Like, how did that feel though? When, like,
make sure of that.
But how did that feel? Like when they came, you like, all right, like we gonna make these yours. We gonna put your fadeaway joint on the back. Like how did like you know what I'm saying? It's one thing for you to be, all right, I choose this shoe, I'm gonna wear this. But then when a company come to you and they like, we rocking with you, we want to make this a PE shoe for you, make it like your shoe. Like you the only dude that's known as like the Air Force One was your shoe.
Man, me and my brother was geeked. You know, we was geeked, like, cause they gave me a blank template. It was like, look, come up with some color combinations, or you know, the different materials or whatever, and you know, we see what we're working with. So some of the things they listened to, some of them didn't. But I will say that the hottest pair of Air Force Ones I ever had, and I got them around here somewhere, is I asked them to make me a pair of Air Force One cleats, and this was back in '97. So I got them joints around here somewhere, and now if you look at it, they got all the basketball shoes down there
as cleats
too.
Right.
So, but matter of fact, I got one right here for y'all. I'll give y'all this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Last time I wore this shoe was Game 5. Last time I wore this shoe. So I had, you can see ain't nothing in there now. I had to take the orthotic out.
They got to come with you. They got to go to the next shoe.
Straight up.
Sure,
one of the things, like just talking about your game wise, that I always loved about your game and the way you play, your high arcing jump shot. Like, who taught you that high arcing jump shot, and when did you learn to shoot that jump shot with that such high arc?
My oldest brother taught me how to shoot. He was the jump shot shooter in the family, and my middle brother was the dunker. So my oldest brother, he taught me how to shoot, and it was a young lady by the name of, I want to say Carolyn, lived across the street from me. She was older than me. I had a little crush on her. You know, she was all city in basketball. And playing her in a game of one-on-one one day, she also told me, you know, to don't shoot the ball in front of your face like this and all that. Like we all did as kids trying to make sure that we get it up there. And she was like, hold it on the side of your face and all of that. So after that, it was, all right, I'm going to just put it up there as high as I can so it can't get blocked. Right. And it just turned into that jump shot, just playing, and it turns into that post move, turns into that fadeaway, turns to that three, and so forth, so on.
Who did you grow up like watching that you was like emulating, like, man, I want to be like that player? Them the players that I wanted to see, because I know you started late. So if you started late, you probably weren't even looking at basketball as much as you looking at it. You started looking at it when you started playing. So who did you grow up and see, or who did you see was like, man, I want to do that? What he doing?
Well, when I was a young boy and I was out there on the court, and you know how you all do the 5, 4, 3, you know, the countdown.
Right.
Well, I always dreamt that I was Doc, I was Kareem, as far as the NBA goes. And at the time, also, like I said, college, for me growing up, it was Patrick Ewing and Billy Owens for Syracuse.
Billy Owens.
You know, those are the guys that I was trying to emulate or be like, or I thought I was trying to be like, you know, as a young boy growing up, because as I said, I didn't get into basketball until I was about 12, 13 years old. Yeah. Before that, it was just track. I just played, you know, like all the other neighborhood kids just playing basketball.
Yeah. If you had to pick 4 other teammates to play with out of all the teams, from the Bullets to the Blazers to the Knicks to the Celtics to the Detroit Pistons, you had to pick 4 other players to play with, who would be them 4 other players?
I'm gonna have to do it like this. Give me that Portland team, give me that Detroit team, give me that New York team, and give me that Boston team. I think it'd be disrespectful for me just to point out just a few guys, because in my opinion, man, I played with so many great guys, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful to the basketball guys and to the Most High that a majority of the teammates that I've had, I never had beef with. I'm still friends with to this day. And, you know, it was never no locker room drama with any of these guys. So it's hard to say, man, because, shoot, I can go from point guards. I can say, hey, Mark Price, but I played with him my rookie season. I can go, if you want, I can go between Mark Price, Damon, Chauncey, and Rod Strickland. Like, damn, who you going to pick? You know what I'm saying? Or you talking about J.R. Ryder, Bonzi Wells, Rip Hamilton, Walt Wizard. Yeah. Who you going to pick? You know what I'm saying? It's so many guys that, man, I think it would be disrespectful just to try to name the other 4 to do a starting 5.
Hey, tell me this: when you from the hood like us, right? So when you first got the bag, what did you go do with when you got the bag? Where you look back on it like, this probably look crazy, but I had to treat myself one time. What did Big Sheed do?
Oh, for myself. Oh yeah, when I first got the bag,
you get to treat yourself one time, you know.
Yeah, I would say I had got the 4-door 600 Benz.
Ooh,
you know, back
somebody
then
else
that
said
big body.
the big boy.
Who
else just said that? Somebody said the big body.
Yes.
Tim Thomas. You and Tim Thomas got y'all got them
B12
boys. Got them B12 boys.
Yeah, that was the first thing that I did, you know, for myself. Of course, after, you know, you take care of all the other responsibilities, getting my Dukes a crib and car, and, you know, so on and so on. But yeah, it was that 4-door black on black, and what made me get it real talk,
black on black like this.
It was because of Aaron McKee and Eddie Jones. They had the coupes. They had the 600S coupes rolling around Philly. I was like, oh my God. And all you seen, when you seen one, you seen the other. So everywhere at the club, you know, just on the court, all that. I'm like, man, I gotta get me one of them. Yeah. I was like, I had a family starting off early, so I had to get the 4-door.
Word up.
It's two players I want you to speak about that came up under you. That's like, man, he's one of my favorite players too, and that's Zebo and Jermaine O'Neal. Like to see their careers and how their careers turned out, and you seeing them when they came fresh out the womb to to play with you as rookies. Like, how was it to see how they came in and just to see how their careers turned out of them being so good and making their mark in this league?
Man, it's like a big brother love, you know, especially with Jermaine, with me knowing him the longest. And here you are, you're on a team, you straight out of high school, and everybody you on this team with now is a grown-ass man with kids.
Yeah.
You know, you went from being the big fish in the little pond to the little fish in the big pond now. But the thing that we loved about Jermaine, like myself, Gary Trent, Sabonis, Cliff Robinson, Joe Klein, we used to beat Jermaine's ass. Beat his ass, but he would never complain like, man, why you foul me hard like that? It was never none of that. He would get up, all right, cool, we keep playing. He'd be in the weight room before and after practice, and then just knowing the type of player that he was, like he felt as though that he was that game changer. He felt he could make that difference out there. And we believed him. You know, we saw it in practice. And he had his moments during a little bit of minutes that he got. But I was happy to see him go. And I was happy for the fact of now you got your own spotlight, bro. You ain't up under me no more. You ain't up under Cliff Robinson no more. You got your own spotlight. You know what I'm saying? You got your own yard now. Go ahead and be that dog that I know you could be.
And he did that.
You know, next thing you seeing Jermaine, Defensive Player of the Years, All-Star votes, and, you know, doing this, doing that. Teams always in the playoffs or going deep in the playoffs. So, like, to see him, one, become that player, and then two, with us still aging, with him becoming a businessman that he has, it's like, man, I'm so happy for him, so proud of him. It's like, you know, that big brother, little brother moment, man. You know, it's a loss of words, really. You know, I know his family, mom and brothers and sisters and everybody. I love all of them, wife and his kids. It's awesome, man. And the same thing with Zebo. That's my man too.
What's up with you, Mag?
It was funny because we had to humble Zebo one time. Yeah. Right. So he coming fresh off the NCAA, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He the man, you know, we saw him. All right, we give you respect, young fella. Good thing. So when I was playing, I was starting 5 and they would start him at 4. So of course, you know, I'm getting double teamed. So, you know, I'm kicking the ball to him or kicking it out to swing over or whatever. So Zebo getting mad buckets, yo. It's like 5-6 games in a row where Zebo had 25 or more.
Straight up,
so
2010.
Now, you can't tell Zebo nothing. So he's like, man, we like, yo, you know, just play right, this and that. He's like, oh, man, why y'all hating on me, my guy? He's like, man, we ain't hating on you. We just telling you. Oh, my guy, y'all need to stop hating. All right, I got something for you. So we just going to reverse these roles. So during the game, I ain't say nothing to the coach. At the time, Mike Dunleavy was the coach. We ain't say nothing to him. So we in a game. So if Damon called like 4 turn for me, Zach, go ahead. It's for you. I'm going to stand out here. And for like 3-4 games. And then eventually Dunleavy saw what we were doing. And Zach got what we were doing. Like, yeah, it's like, damn, I'm sorry, my guy. You know, it's a totally different story now when you're that focus, when you're that focal point. We was like, yeah. But ever since then, that brother took off. And I think in his age group, he got to lead the NBA with double-doubles.
He got to.
He's
right up there. If he don't, he's right up there.
Man, that kid's a walking rebound. Yeah, walking rebound.
Well, let's get technical right now, if we can.
Yeah.
Like you in this podcast world, and I know what this podcast world did for me for these last 2 years of me coming back around and showing my face and just entering social media world. But like I say, you one of my favorite personalities, players. I'm so happy you and Bonds, he just, you know what I'm saying, creating a platform to hear. I always good to see my brothers from you to Ryan Hollins and Haywood to Jack Nim and Matt Bourne, to see us all doing that. But what was it for you with Let's Get Technical that you wanted to do and put out there and create a platform so you can speak up on certain things?
Well, really, I would have to give all the kudos to Bonzi. Bonzi was the one who was in my ear, actually, probably, I want to say, for about a year and some change. He was in my ear about a podcast before I took my high school job. And I was like, nah, I can't do it now. You know, got the high school kids I got to worry about, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But he stayed with it. And so one day I was like, all right, this cat's too persistent. So let me go ahead, let's do it. And let's try it out and see what's what. And boom, we just took it off from there, you know. And watching y'all, because from the guys that I know, you know, y'all had y'all podcast just as long as Matt and them. So hey, I love what y'all doing, man. And to me, you know, we try to be like y'all, but not be like y'all, if you get what I'm saying. Like, we want to have that longevity that y'all have. Like, y'all knocked down a lot of doors and y'all gave people different views on basketball players. Why? Because they think that we just know basketball.
Right.
But obviously with you two guys and the guest that you had, it's way more than just talking about basketball. So I think, you know, me personally, you guys got a lot to do with me being in the podcast game myself.
Oh man,
that's
that's
dope to
dope.
hear, man.
One of our things is like, man, like everybody can't be the Hall of Famer or everybody can't be the best basketball player. But one thing I feel about all the players, especially when they made to the NBA and got an opportunity, is like they legends. We all legends. They done did something in their life, did a career. They done came from somewhere and put in so much work to make it to that point that we want to give you them flowers. We want to show like, man, like, everybody else might not have think you was the shit, but I thought you was the shit when I was coming up. Like, and I remember them moments. You know what I'm saying? And like we was
Appreciate
just
that,
talking
man.
to like Tim Thomas or just like all the players, and we just want to show people like, man, everybody got a story and a dope one.
Hey, to me, y'all the old heads now.
Shout
Y'all
out,
the
Let's Get
pioneers.
Technical. Shout out Bonzi Well.
Damn. Yeah,
I got
definitely Bonds, man. That's been my dog, man. He didn't even know, like, I'm a Midwest kid. So, you know, I was watching him when he was at Ball State.
Ball
He used
State,
to play against my
baby.
cousin in conference, Illinois State, Rico Hill. They play against each other in conference. So I'm like, I had been knew about Bonds. And when I got to Lee, you know, we play similar. So when I had to play against him, I learned, I took some of his moves, his post moves, how to get boys down
the motherfucker up.
So believe that Bonds got all the love, boy. He been a boy.
I want you to speak up on one thing. We just talked to DC and y'all was in Michigan. Y'all was giving out the water. We just talked to D. Coleman. He was telling like how you and Jack and everybody was out there giving out water. Just want you to just speak and touch on that of like the water crisis and all that stuff that's going on in Michigan that you was helping out and you was supporting by spreading water out to the communities and all that stuff.
And make sure you let it be known that you've been doing it. It ain't just start happening. You've been on deck since the beginning. Because I was working for the Pistons then. I remember you coming from North Carolina with the 12-wheelers and bringing down water. So throw that out there. Now you've been doing it from day one. You stayed down. Like this is
it's a tragic situation for it to be 6-7 years later, and Flint, certain areas of Flint, Michigan, still has no clean water. You know, they're getting treated like it's a third world country because, in my opinion, and I'm not in these city council meetings or anything, but I think what they're trying to do is get that whole college life back up there. You know, you have a lot of these dilapidated buildings, you have a lot of abandoned properties, and there's no for sale signs on them. You know, you have a lot of these homes that were bought up. You have, just think of a city block. Out of this city block, you might have about 20 homes on this block. Only 2 of them are being lived in.
Yeah.
The others are dilapidated, or it's, you know, they done tore them down and it's an empty lot, but they're all bought up. So they're waiting. They're trying to come with their master plan. So we've been going up there from day one. Since I first heard about it, myself from Carolina, my family and friends from Philly, we've been going up to Flint and passing out water and other resources that's needed up there. Ran into the first day I did it, ran into Mo Peterson. So with him being a Flintstone himself, He's up there. Then I ran into another organization called New Era Detroit, which is a community-based organization. They came up there. And just seeing brothers and sisters helping one another at this tragic time is love. And we just keep doing it. Just came back from there a few weeks ago. And people like Derek Coleman is my mentor because helped him and his cousin T. Wheeler. They passed out 18-wheeler full of food, full of pork, full of chicken, full of beef, eggs, juices, everything you would get from the supermarket to the neighborhoods that couldn't afford them, to the neighborhoods that wasn't getting this government stimulus, this city help and all of this. And that's guys like that, they're my mentors.
Straight up.
Yo, man, that's a wrap, man. We this was major. This was huge, man. We got our OG, Big Dog, Mr. Ball Don't Lie himself, the Tar Heel legend. You feel me? We got Rasheed Wallace in the building with us. Much love, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Love y'all, man. Love y'all dudes to death, dog. You just don't know.